What should have been a regular week 2 of college football turned into a whole bunch of chaos because certain teams couldn't get the job done. And not to mention, week 1 of the NFL just started, and man, it really didn't disappoint. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what time it is. Welcome to the most electrifying part of your week with me, Niles Niseem, your host with the most. So when you see me on screen, it's time for me to take you from pillar to post on all things sports. Welcome to the Numbers with Niles Niseem. Let's get this thing rolling. And we are back with another episode of The Numbers with Niles Niseem. We're running it up and we are rocking and rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, what a week 2 of college football it was. A lot of teams that were supposed to handle business, and then some, I'm talking to you, Florida, absolutely fumbled the bag. But we're going to get into it, and then we're going to talk about week 1 in the NFL season. Let's go over some of the marquee matchups that we saw this week and go by the numbers. First thing we want to talk about, Oregon, Oklahoma State, my God, OSU. Are you even a Power 5 program? 69-3. Look at this. Oregon amassed 631 total yards of offense. 319 in the air, 312 passing. 319 in the air, 312 passing. I mean, Dante Moore, Oregon's QB, had a phenomenal game, 260 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 16 of 21. OSU had no answer. They had no answer. This seems like almost like a week 0 matchup. I don't even know what to even call this. If we ought to talk about Oklahoma State and figuring out what they need to do to get back on top, because the way it's looking, it's dire straits. And there's some group of 5 conferences that honestly might need to take Oklahoma State's spot the way they're playing. But Oregon is getting the job done. They're staying consistent. They're doing what they need to do. And they look pretty good. They look pretty good. Another absolute routing happened in Columbus when Ohio State beat Grambling State 70-0. What did you expect? What did you expect? I'm an HBCU guy. I love them through and through, but let's be honest, Grambling stood no chance. They stood no chance. However, though, the battle of the bands was there, and Grambling won 70-0 on that. So we'll take that. But OSU by the numbers, 651 total yards of offense. This is video game numbers. Are we playing on rookie mode at Madden? What's happening here? 651 total yards, 377 passing, 274 rushing. Julian Saint, 18 of 19. 18 of 19. 306 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. Hey, he played the game manager role last week, came back, revamped, and played lights out this week. You know, Ohio State's got a solid quarterback. He's got a solid QB. Yet to be seen if he's a superstar or not, but these are the kind of numbers you need to be putting up against these kind of opponents. They're the best team in the nation right now. There's really nothing we can say about that. OSU is going to firmly sit at 1 until they are dethroned at number 1, and I don't see a problem with that when you're handling business with teams 70-0. Mississippi State versus Arizona State. What are we doing, Arizona State? ASU, come on. You got to win those. First, we got to understand, I want to say that Mississippi State has one of the most underrated college atmospheres I've ever seen. People don't talk about those doggone Cowbells are insane. Game was pretty close. Arizona was doing their thing right up until Blake Shapen launched a 58-yard touchdown to Brennan Thompson with 30 seconds left to seal the win. And then Sam Levitt throws that interception. I don't know what Arizona State is doing, but they need to understand that they can't afford these losses. We've already seen that their conference, the Big 12, is already disrespected when it comes to playoff time. It's already going to be disrespected. So it's not like you can go by the same rules of a 1-loss, 2-loss, even 3-loss team that's in the SEC. You have to win every chance you get, especially against an unranked opponent. You are number 12. Number 12. You have to handle business against that. Levis is a great, not saying Levis, Levis is a great quarterback. Great quarterback. He's a phenomenal quarterback. I love his athleticism, but there's still some things we got to iron out. And listen, they misscat. They misscatable. It just is what it is. There's some plays that I think that could really ice the game that would have really helped if they still had probably the best, in my opinion, he was the best running back in college football. Yes, and I said that. Even including Genty. I understand Genty was doing incredible things at Boise State. He's a phenomenal athlete, and he's incredible. But Scat was doing that in a Power 5 conference, and on top of that, was probably a better pass catcher, too, out of the backfield than Genty was, in my opinion. Without probably a top 2 running back within college football, there's some holes that ASU is going to have to fix up. But the question is now, what do? They're going to have to win every game that they have next. They can't slip up. They want to make the playoff again. They cannot slip up, because if they do, the committee's looking for a reason to not put them in. He's looking for a reason not to put them in. You know how this committee thinks, so you can't drop those games. Speaking of dropping games to unranked teams, Florida. What was that? What was that? Now, I want to get this out of the way. USF and South Florida, they're just one of those teams that they're a group of 5 school. Doesn't matter if they're on your schedule, you better be prepared. They give anybody a run for their money. They gave us, Miami, a run for our money last year until we blew them out. Still, though, they are a scary team because they can come out of nowhere, okay? It's time for them to start having to move up, too, and get more respect that they deserve, because they can make, they're like an Appalachian State. When you put them on your schedule, an upset is bound to happen, okay? And that is what happened. Florida, oh my goodness, the regression is just, it's not, the pieces aren't there. The pieces aren't there. The pieces aren't there. I don't know what to say. We can go by the numbers, but this one isn't even a numbers based thing. There's not that much. It's just 16 to 18. It wasn't much to say, other than Florida fumbled the bag. They just did. USF was able to squeak it out and make it happen on a timely field goal. Billy Napier, your seat isn't warm. It isn't hot. It's piping. It is steaming. It is on fire right now. It is what it is. And on top of that, you have to understand too, Florida, you backed yourself in a hole, because do you understand the murderer's row that you have next? I mean, you got LSU next week. You got Miami coming up, us. You got a whole bunch of other teams too. You're still going to be deep in the SEC. You can look. And this might be a 5-game skid for Florida. Like arguably what I thought, honestly, with Florida's schedule, if they went 9-3, I believe they can make the playoffs. I genuinely believe that they can make the playoffs. If they went 9-3, they could. Look at the schedule. No one's playing a schedule like them, but not with this loss. With a loss to USF. You gotta win out. You gotta win every other game. But the problem is, you're not gonna win every other game. You're not playing the teams that you're playing and thinking that you're gonna come out unscathed. You're just not. If you go even 7-5 this season, you're lucky. Florida, I don't know what to say. I'm disappointed. I was looking forward to playing for you. I hope you beat LSU. I need you to beat LSU. Here's why. It's Miami right now. We're comfortably sitting at number 5. Okay, just handle business, 45-3 against Bethune-Cookman. Could have done more, but we decided to put our third strings in. It is what it is. It's fine. Let's be very clear. We have USF, then you, and then Florida State. I need everybody to go ahead and handle their business so that we can have ranked teams on our schedule for playoff contention purposes. If we can beat 3 top 25 teams back to back, because guess what? USF is going to vault. They're going to be the group of 5 school in the top 25. Okay. They're probably going to be early 20s, late teens, calling it right now. They're probably going to end up somewhere on that 18, 19 spot. Florida's going to go down, but they're not going to drop out of the top 25 just yet. They lose to LSU, they probably will, but they're not going to drop down the outside 25 yet, but they're going to go beyond the lower half of it without a doubt. Florida State right now is going to keep climbing the ranks, which I hope they get to top 10. So if we can spank all 3 of you guys in the next week, that looks great for our resume. The problem is, Florida, you wet the bed, because now what are we going to do? Because I can't count on you to be LSU. Although LSU didn't, I expect them to do more this week too. But still, I need you to do what you need to do. Florida, terrible showing. Terrible showing. Terrible. However, though, I got to say this. Oklahoma, Michigan, 18 versus 15. Marquee matchup of the week. There's not much to say about Michigan. They have identity issues. Like middle school teenager identity issues. There's nothing they can do. What are they going to do on offense, defense? I don't have an identity for this team. It's very hard to think that they just won a national championship 2 years ago. Very hard to think. And especially with all the other things going on in that program and suspensions and such, I don't know what you're going to do. Say, Michigan's got identity issues. They got identity issues. There's nothing that you can say about it. They don't have anything on offense. They don't have anything on defense. There's not much you can say. But Oklahoma, they got their quarterback. John Mateer he's that guy. He's dangerous, dangerously good, dangerously talented. The problem with John is this. You're going to have to rein him in just enough to make him an elite quarterback, but you got to still let him be free enough to be him. The arm angles he can throw at are incredible. He has an absolute cannon. He can throw to places that the ball shouldn't be. When you watch some of the throws, especially one of the sideline throws either, you just can't make that up. Like, you can't teach some of the stuff he has. His athleticism, his ability to extend plays and run. He has breakaway speed. He's kind of a little bit shifty. He's a great quarterback. Now, there's some things that he has to do. It's footwork, coming out of the pocket. Some of the errant passes and throws, really, it's that footwork, it's that base, the way he works off of. But when you understand what he's trying to do and how mobile he is and how he's trying to sit there and always find a way to create plays, hey, this is the kind of thing you get. He's extremely talented. He's extremely talented. I mean, he did what he had to do. Threw for 270 yards, rushed for 74. Threw one passing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns. Oklahoma has a quarterback that's going to revitalize them and that can really keep them relevant in the SEC this year. The issue is, and I think Brent Venables is doing a great job. Missed him at Clemson, growing up, seeing what he did with that defense. But, Oklahoma has a standard. And I'm even though they're in the SEC, the Boomer Sooner, they're not going to let go of that standard. They want to win national championships. They want to be a playoff contention. And I think with a quarterback like this, you're still seeing that stereotypical Oklahoma quarterback, that Kyle Murray, that that Baker Mayfield that goes out there and electrifies the crowd. It can still sling that bad boy. But I think this might be another level of athleticism. But he's good. He's really good. Like Heisman good. And especially after what I've seen from Nuss and Klubnik and Arch, who I'm not counting them out. However, though, I haven't seen anything striking just yet. So we're going to have to start putting Mateer in Heisman conversations. But he's an incredible quarterback. That's the story of that game. It's just an incredible quarterback. He has the weapons. He has what's needed. And Michigan's got to find their identity. I don't know if that'll be done this season, especially with everything that's going on. I don't know. I don't think that will be. I don't think so. I think Michigan's they're gonna hit a rough patch. But Oklahoma, we got some blood in the SEC. It keeps bolstering the conference, so we'll see what's up. And I think that's the cool thing. Now, the question is, we need to go ahead and check and see the AP polls right now. Going ahead and making sure that we go ahead and see who's vaulted, who's at the top, who's at the bottom. I don't think there's much shakeup too much at the top. We got Ohio State coming in after their win against Grambling, 70-0. We got PSU, Penn State doing what they need to do, holding down the fort. Number 2, LSU. Thought they should have done better in their performance, but they did well enough. They won. They got the job done. They're staying firmly at 3 right now. Oregon at 2. Oregon at 4 after the complete crap. We talked about earlier, 6-9-3 when it comes to Oklahoma State. Miami, the U at 5, holding it down after Bethune-Cookman. We'll see what we can do with these next 3 games. If we can pull out USF, Florida, and Florida State. But I'm okay with 5. I'm okay with 5. 6, Georgia, coming down from 4, didn't show much out of against Austin Peay. Is what it is. But they're here and they're live. It's still Georgia. At any point in time, you can never give up on them because they are a national championship competitive team. We got Texas coming in at 7. They bounced back. Arch had a great game. We're very proud of him. Yes, it was against lesser competition, but sometimes you need those wins to boost morale, okay? They did what they needed to do. They handled business. They're staying firmly at 7. Haven't moved much. We got Notre Dame at 8 coming up from the 9 spot. Hey, I don't think Notre Dame, it was one loss. It was one loss against a good team. You know what I'm saying? It's one loss against, they were number 10 at the time, but number 5, Miami. It is what it is. Notre Dame can still make the playoff. They still can. With a schedule that's right, that they've made for them, if they do what they need to do and give Love the ball more than they did in that game against Miami, I think that they'll be okay. I think that they'll be just fine, okay? This is Marcus Freeman. He's a great coach. One of the best coaches in the country. He'll make the adjustments, okay? Not Notre Dame, but Illinois, after beating Duke, hey, Manny Diaz had those boys looking pretty good down there in Durham, but Fighting Illini are coming up, and they did what they needed to do to put the game away. It's looking like a pretty good team in the Big Ten right now. For what I'm looking, they're probably a top 4 team in the Big Ten. They're not going to be over Ohio State just yet, PSU or Oregon, but they're looking good. They're looking really good. Illinois, we don't know them for football usually, or any. Maybe basketball school. I don't know. It depends on the year, but the Fighting Illini, looking good. And finally round off that top 10 spot. We got Florida State coming up 4 spots after they completely obliterated their opponents, putting up video game numbers again too. I need Florida State to handle business. I need them to handle business. You understand how big it is when Florida State and Miami are both good within the college football landscape. And when that game happens in a couple of weeks, it's going to be box office. It's going to be massive in Tallahassee. We need to make it happen. So I need Florida State to do what they need to do. Handle business. Because when it's time to see you, I can't wait to see you. All right. Let's lock in. Okay, now we got to get into week 1 of the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a beautiful week. It was a beautiful week. Not much to say in the sense of, there's a whole lot to say, actually. There's a whole lot to say. And there's a whole lot of games we got to go through because the storylines were incredible. And there's so many games that I just thought were box office. First of all, week 1, we got Bills-Ravens. This is the best game, and that is the best game in football that can be created. There are no other games that could be created that are better than that. Those are the 2 best players in the world. Forgive me for Patrick. I know he's won 3 Super Bowls right now, and he's the consistent number 1 quarterback resume-wise, but currently right now, 2 best players in football. Josh, Lamar, who's the better quarterback? It's just that simple. What an incredible game it was. The Ravens choked again. 41-40 after having a 40-25 lead going into the 4th. I need you to understand these numbers, okay? Now listen, Josh Allen had 394 yards, okay? 2 passing touchdowns, rush for two TDs. But I need you to understand, 250 of those came in the 4th quarter. Where was the defense? Where was the defense? Where was the defense? I just need to know. Where did the Ravens... Death taxes and the Ravens having a good defense has always been a thing. They were a no-show. They got absolutely obliterated, okay? Especially after all the offense. I'm not even going to... Listen, we'll get to their numbers in 1 second. 250 yards. 250 yards in a game is good. In a quarter? In a quarter? Guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? But Josh Allen just may be the best player in football. But it's not like Lamar had a bad game. I mean, Lamar went 14-19, threw for 209 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 70 yards, rushed for a touchdown, too. You got to understand, too, he was playing the game perfectly with Derrick Henry, who was having a monster game, too, who ran for 169 yards with 2 rushing touchdowns as well. They were playing perfectly in harmony and in sync. Lamar was extending plays when needed to be extended. He was running and using his legs when they needed to be used. Henry was absolutely mauling the Bills' defense. But that doggone fumble from Henry late in the game. What can you say? I mean, the fumble late in the game. But I'm not mad at Derek. I'm not mad at him. You know why I'm not mad at him? Because it wouldn't have mattered if the defense would have stood their ground and held their ground and kept this game where it needed to be. But they didn't. And the Ravens choke again. And the question is, what do we do with the Ravens? Because I feel like Harbaugh got conservative, and this is his MO. We need the Ravens to be more aggressive because I need Lamar to win the Super Bowl. I'm not even a Ravens fan. I'm a Falcons fan and a Giants fan. I still want Lamar to win the Super Bowl for the culture. I need this to happen. And with the roster currently constructed, with the weapons they have, Lamar, Derrick Henry, got Zay Flowers. I'm sitting there watching the game. I see a receiver, this big body receiver, have a one-hand catch on the sidelines and realize that's D-Hop. They have DeAndre Hopkins. What are we doing? Should have won this game. For the first 3 quarters, they were the best team in football. Collapsed in the 4th quarter. I don't know what to do with the Ravens. They got to do what they got to do. They got to do what they got to do. I mean, even the Ravens had 35 minutes of possession time as opposed to the Bills' 25 minutes, okay? The Ravens had 432 yards. The Bills had 497, but a lot of that came in the 4th quarter, okay? We also got to talk about the rushing yards, 238 for the Ravens to 108 for the Bills. I mean, they beat them in all. They beat them in all aspects. They just didn't win the game. I got nothing. If you're a Ravens fan, I pray for you. Now, I'm never happy when the Jets are even semi-decent. But we got to ask the question, did these two franchises fail these two QBs and just swap them? Because right now, the Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers put on a great show. I mean, what are you, 34-32, okay? A-Rod looked like A-Rod. His stats, 244 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 22 of 30. 22 of 30. He looked good. That arm is still there. The mobility is still there. It's not prime Aaron Rodgers, but it's still there, and he's getting the job done. And guess what? Justin Fields was looking good too. 16 of 22, 218 yards throwing for a touchdown, 0 interceptions. He looked good enough to be on the field. He looked good enough to get him a win. They won 32. They didn't win 32-34, but I mean, they put up 32 points. When the last time you seen the Jets put up 32 points? Hey, A-Rod might just have a fit in Pittsburgh. The only thing that we got to worry about is, that Pittsburgh culture. A-Rod's not going to be able to do whatever he wants to do. He has to hold it down, and he's going to have to make sure he's taking that backseat to Mike Tomlin and those boys, because remember, he's not running the show over there. So when they hit a rough patch, what are they going to do? Because they're not going to go out, go get A-Rod's boys like other teams and capitulate to his demands. So we got to see how he'll hold, but right now, it's working out pretty solid. He looks great. Maybe he just might have some more in the tank. Maybe we are seeing that he just wasn't recovered from that Achilles injury, and he's coming back better than ever. And Justin Fields, this just might be a career resurgence for him, where you can see that he really could possibly be a starting quarterback in this league. He can do it. He can do it. Maybe he just wasn't in the perfect situations with his other teams. Maybe the Jets just might give him a shot at redemption. A shot of redemption. A shot of redemption. Now, I'm not going to really talk about this game too much because it disgusses me. And the simple fact as a Giants fan that Daniel Jones had a good game. But the Colts did beat the Miami Dolphins 33-8. 33-8. This isn't a by the numbers thing. Miami has a problem. They got a culture problem. They got a culture problem with their coaching staff, with their players. 33-8 is insane to get beat by in week 1. This is literally the easiest game to get amped for. It's the beginning of the season, and they came out flat. Come out flat during week 1 is indicative of a lot of things. I don't know what's going on down there. I used to live down there. I love it down there. Sometimes it can be distracting, and sometimes you want to have fun in the 305. We laugh. But 33-8 is unacceptable. When Daniel Jones is out here throwing 3 touchdowns on you, yeah, we got a problem. We got a problem. But maybe it was the Giants too. Maybe it was just a bad franchise for him. I don't know. I feel some type of way about Daniel Jones having a good game. I do. But at the end of the day, Miami's got to figure it out. They got to figure it out because this is abysmal. This is horrible, okay? Philadelphia at Dallas Cowboys. Not Dallas Cowboys at Philadelphia. The Eagles pull it out 24-20. Hey, Jalen Carter, I don't know what you were doing, but let's try to keep our bodily fluids inside our mouth. Now, there are some replays that said that Dak spit on the ground first. Either way, you can't, it wasn't even the first snap of the season. Wasn't even the first snap of the season. I highly doubt that the Cowboys would have even done half as well if Carter was playing in that game. But it is what it is. I guess we'll take it as a wash because the Cowboys lost Micah Parsons a week earlier. So you know what? Hey, screw it. It was a good game, 24-20. Listen, the Eagles are just going to have to figure out what they're going to do with their talent. They got too much talent. They can run the ball. They can run the ball pretty well, and they can throw the ball pretty well. Problem is, they have A.J. Brown on the other side, and they have great receivers on the other side, and they weren't targeted as much, especially A.J. Brown, who wasn't really even targeted at all that game. That's going to cause a problem. Everybody can win, but remember, a wide receiver needs his touches and needs his targets, and they're going to have to figure out how to have a balanced offense. But the name of the game is winning, and they pulled out the win. Right now, they're a solid team. You can say they're the best team in the NFC probably. We'll just have to see how it all holds up going into the later weeks and see how the offense is going to gel, okay? Finally, we got the Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers, down to Brazil. Every time we say the Chiefs don't look as good as they usually do, somehow they find a way. So I'm not going to go down that hole. What I'm going to do is take it from this perspective. Justin Herbert did his thing. Justin Herbert is looking good. He's looking good. My thing with Herbert is we've all seen the arm talent. We've seen it. A lot of people criticize him, say he's overrated. I don't think he's overrated. I just think his team has sucked and his defense has sucked. But I think that just maybe this might be a year where the Chargers make some noise, to go out there week 1 against the best quarterback, quote unquote, in the league and handle business like that. Yeah. I do think the Chargers are on their way to doing something great. Other notable games in my field of view, the Giants versus the Commanders, not much to talk about. Offensive line, absolutely horrible. Russ looked bad. I know it partially because of the offensive line too. It's just not prime Russ anymore. Don't know what to do with him. Hopefully, though, he can find his rhythm because it's seeming like we just might have to put in dirt. Defense didn't play that bad, though. Held the Commander to fewer points than what I thought they were going to. So we'll see what happens about that. Secondly, my Falcons, man, in the NFC South, divisional rivalry for the ages, Tampa Bay, Atlanta. The game never disappoints. 2 outstanding offenses, 2 great quarterbacks. Penix making his season debut, as a starter, doing what he needs to do with Drake London. The boys, Darnell Mooney was out. Falcons definitely did miss him. But, you definitely have Mooney and Pitts in London and Bijan and Algier. On top of that, Tampa Bay is going to have Bucky Irving, and they're going to have Mike Evans, one of the most consistent receivers you've ever seen in your lifetime. And they're also going to have that new, I'm forgetting his name, but new rookie receiver who they're very high on. Baker Mayfield found his home. I mean, he was already 3rd in passing yards last season. Did lead the league in interceptions, but he's a gunslinger. It is what it is. He's found his comfortability. He can throw the passes that he needs to throw to make to his teammates. He can run it. It was just a great game. It was a good back and forth game. Both defenses, I think, did fairly decent, but just Younghoe Koo. I'm not going to crap on him only because the simple thing about it is Younghoe Koo is a great kicker and he's won us a lot of games. But doggone it. Come on, Younghoe. Come on. But listen, we got a lot of stacked up to go. I'll be back later on this week because I got to cover some of the fight news that is coming out pretty soon because we got Canelo and Crawford happening on Saturday, and we just had UFC Paris wrap up. That's going to happen on the new show, The Knockout, that's coming out later this week. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, what a time to be alive. It was a great week of sports. A lot of surprises, a lot of shocks. I can't wait to see what we're going to do heading into next week and the new storylines that are coming up. But man, what a time to be alive. What a time to be a sports fan. Football is back in full swing. We're going to be eating for the next couple of months on Saturdays and Sundays. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in always with the numbers. Niles Niseem. I love y'all. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to see you soon.